It's
Hello,
us.
everybody. It's Ice. We're live. Welcome. Uh, okay, cool. Sorry, I'm super disorganized today. Apparently, I just moved. Welcome. This is Entropy Emporium. This is a TTRPG channel. We do actual plays here, mostly, mostly campaigns. We are doing some fun upcoming things, which I will announce at the end of the stream. But I do have a couple announcements to start off with. The first and the most important is that we are, as always, running a charity drive for the PCRF. None of us are free until we're all free, so this is our way of contributing as best we can. We perform for you, and if you like it, you can donate. One of our mods has puts that in the chat below. The second thing is we have a Discord, a community Discord where we all hang out and have fun and do good times. You can come do that. I'm hoping once I'm more settled post move to do another community night this month, where we will either play games or other various things. So come hang out if you would like to. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to Will to take the reins for this stream. But yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Take us away.
Hello. Hi. My name is Will. I am your storyteller for this game of Girl by Moonlight, where we use the On a Sea of Stars playset. It's a game about piloting the corpses of dead gods. You may have heard that pitch if you caught our first episode. Then you know all about it. But now we're gonna dive on into our second episode, which is kind of our first episode, part 2. Before we get to that, though, I think we'll probably go around and do some quick introductions. Who you are, who you're playing, your playbook, that sort of thing. Anything you want to say about your characters. And we'll just stick to the same thing we did last time. We don't have Izzy with us tonight, sadly, but that is fine. We will power through, and hopefully they'll be able to join us for next time. But Cass, if you want to start us off.
Hi, I'm Cass, better known as Yoda Mighty. Tonight I am playing Troyan Mott, call sign Ahti. Playbook is The Outsider, which I'm sure won't cause any problems whatsoever. And I just gotta ask, Will, you know that really horrible question I asked you the other day, do I have snacks?
Do you have snacks? I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I said the answer was going to be yes.
You did. We didn't work out the details of the snacks.
Yeah. I think that is fair to say. Nobody should worry about that at all. JT.
My mic is not cooperating today either. Hi, I'm JT. I am Cogs today. You heard me talk at the top of the stream. What else am I saying? God, I am so scrambled. I'm sorry. Cogs, call sign, Carmente. I don't need to ask Will about snacks.
I guess that means you don't want any.
Don't
which is
need
fine.
them.
Yeah, okay. That's totally fine. Fantastic. Logan?
Hello all, my name is Logan, also known as Logan the GM. I am playing Roswell Chief Garm, call sign Cypher, and I have the Guardian playbook. So I'm going to probably sacrifice myself heroically at some point. So get over it. Ready? Get your tissues ready.
And last but certainly not least, Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen /Youngles, and I play Grace, who's a hot mess.
What's your call sign?
That's it. Oh, my call sign? Carrot. I wasn't going to say it. Way to ruin my intro.
Why not?
Good job.
I'm so sorry. It's
okay.
a fun call sign. I just thought you might want to say it.
It is.
Fantastic. And hello. Hi, my name is Will. I play everyone else. And when we left off last time, we had made it through are obligation and downtime phases for the characters. One of which where we explored obligations that they have, serving as engine operators on the Delphi, humanity's last remaining warship, essentially. And we were about to move on to the engagement role, to the mission phase, as it is, which, to start off with, means that you all get to pick what type of mission it is that you are interested in going on. Yep, and so that's a choice that you get to make because of all of the preparations you did last time during your obligation phase, your downtime phase. We are in tier 2, which means that on the Odyssey of Stars 1 page in our shared character sheet playbook thing, you can see the tier 1 missions and you can see the tier 2 missions.
So we can do either tier 1 or tier 2?
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Yep, because you are in tier 2 as far as your preparations are concerned.
Okay. Thematically, can I just say recover a fallen engine specifically of our old commander?
Yeah.
We do have a fallen engine to recover.
We do it then.
We sure do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so down. Uh-huh.
Let's do it. I'm making a bold decision.
All right, I love it. Sure, yeah. So we're recovering a fallen engine. I think that makes a ton of sense. So I think basically what is going to happen is you're all going to get buzzed on your personal communication devices, pinged, if you will, and it's going to be a communication from your commander, someone that you have probably all had interactions with at some point. God, where do I keep my notes for this game? There we go.
Is it Swanson?
Cool. Yes, it is. Yep. I just wanted to look it up. Excuse me, General Hiram Swanson. It's a communication from your general, basically calling you all to the briefing room. Upon your arrival, the briefing room of the ship, I think probably, and people can feel free to throw out details if they have any ideas for it. But this room is I mean, you could pretty much picture like the prep for the Death Star run at the end of A New Hope. It's like a lot of seating, except probably instead of that sort of bleacher style seating, this is more like a classroom where you actually have systems and like computers and things built into the table in front of where you're sitting, if you need to like access anything or look anything up. And but it is still probably on that sort of tiered style of seating, so that the person who's talking at the front is visible to everybody. You file in. There are more seats available. There are more seats here in this room than you think there are even engine operators currently. Like if all of you were in this room at the same time, because you were not the only ones piloting these things, it would be completely packed. There would still be empty seats, but it would still be very full. And so, yeah, you can take your seats. I guess I'm curious if you all sit together.
I would probably sit near the front. I don't know if that means anyone would sit near me, but I mean, I would be early on time, shuffle in to the closest seat to I'm assuming the general is waiting for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just kind of disgruntledly sit in my, probably like I've sat in the same spot at the same time, so it's unofficially my seat.
100%. I love that.
I think Troyan, I'm assuming, comes with an escort.
I think your escort walks you. I think your escort walks you into the meeting, but like stays by the door, or actually probably stays outside because this is technically classified.
Yeah, and I think Troyan just completely unconsciously goes to a seat they used to sit in. And then just very much sits like I am now, like,
Which is very interesting because if we're creating a tradition here that a lot of the engine operators sit in the same seats that they always have, it's entirely possible that that particular seat has been empty since you were lost.
It's on vacation.
Yeah, right, since you were on vacation. But Roswell might notice, like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Nobody sits in that seat because that person died. And here's this person very, very consciously, very intentionally sitting there. Anyway, probably doesn't mean anything.
Cogs would move in to sit across from Chief, and Chief would clearly see Cogs note how many times each of them have picked which chair they sit in Cogs's little journal.
Are you like scratching it into the table? Tallies,
No, they
like the community
keep telling me not to deface the equipment.
That's fair. Sorry, Grace.
Yeah, you're fine. Grace will kind of nonchalantly walk into the room, kind of like bobbing their head to whatever's in their headphones or earbuds, like with just one earbud, and sit kind of. I think Grace would notice that Troyan's sitting in that seat and just be like, oh, that's weird. And like not think anything of it. Like no one sits in that seat. Like, and just finds a seat close to probably Cogs, because you're the only one I haven't like fully interacted with yet.
That checks out. And yeah, I think Troyan would have originally gone missing well before your time, Grace.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah, nobody sits in that seat. Maybe you're not entirely clear why, but standing at the front of the room, it sounds like you're all fairly spread out, but standing at the front of the room, you see General Swanson, and then coming in through a side door, you see Dr. Haynes, who, Grace, you saw not that long ago for your checkup. And they greet each other. The general gives him puts his hand out, returns the firm handshake. The Dr. Haynes seems a little on edge, is really the only way to describe it, but he seems a little tense. He looks like you see him keep checking the device around his wrist, the timekeeper, just to he looks like he is late for something, but he still has to be here, and he's just trying to get it started. And so the general will kind of look at all of you, scan the room, take you all in, and will say, all right, well, this is what you're going to be working with for this mission. Bumblebee will not be joining you. She is otherwise engaged at the moment.
Engaged to who?
Yeah, I think he disregards that and just keeps talking entirely.
It gets a laugh out of Troyan for sure.
A low groan comes out of Chief. Just, yeah. Okay.
Mason is the name. I knew I wrote it down. Mason is the name of your escort, Troyan, but Mason is not in the room. And he says that the general continues talking as if you hadn't said anything, Grace. Realize that it hasn't been that long since you lost your wing commander. And I know that there have been some hesitations about putting you back in the field, some hesitations from within your own group, your own team, about going back out into the field. I think for this particular mission, everyone will be able to agree it's what's best. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Haynes. Dr. Haynes, who has been kind of standing there with his arms crossed, tapping his toe impatiently, steps forward and says to no one, to the open air, Minerva, display waiting mission. And you hear a little chime, and you hear a little sort of electronic warbly, what sounds like a woman's voice chime in and say, displaying now. You know that he has invoked the Delphi's AI system, which is called Minerva. A holographic display pops up showing a rough approximation of like nearby space. You can see where the celestial bodies have been denoted. There's like a spiral arm galaxy on the very edges of your sensors, and a few like rocks, asteroids, a planetoid off to one side. You can see all of that displayed. And you can also see a small ping of something that is being picked up closer to one of those asteroids, one of those clusters of asteroids, I would say. And Dr. Haynes speaks and says, that right there that we're picking up, we believe that to be the Kiernanos emergency beacon.
You're finding the Kiernos?
I believe so.
Those beacons
We
will
lost.
last forever.
When
Okay.
the operator perishes, the system is designed to start broadcasting.
So that's a confirmed kill.
Not necessarily.
So
The
lay it
doctor
out.
seems at a loss for words, but the general chimes in and says, there's only one way to know for sure.
You want us to go get your engine back.
And in the process, confirm Operator Wild Hunt's fate.
2,416.
Cogs, you saying this happened before?
2,416 times. Yes.
How many times is Wild Hunt there?
I can't answer that without risking anyone's life.
Okay.
It being a common occurrence brings me a little comfort.
Yeah. That's what that is.
It shouldn't.
No, Cox, that's not, no. And Grace just puts their head down and is like, well, maybe this time it'll be different. It could be different.
2,218.
You're really creepy when you do that. You know that, right?
I think it's funny as shit.
It's no, it's unsettling. It's not comforting.
Why?
To one, have everything that's going to apparently happen to you be documented by someone. And you see Chief just kind of looks through Cogs, and to not understand how that's impacting everyone else feels off.
Huh.
I have to.
Yeah, I
Count.
get it. I get it. It's maybe your way of comforting yourself.
I'm just comforted
Regardless.
knowing someone knows what's going to happen to me for once.
Regardless of all of this, these are your orders.
When is mission time? How long till we launch?
As we used to say when we had planets, burning daylight.
What do we know about the area? Do we know if there's any of the Leviathan hanging about?
Sensors aren't detecting anything, but you know as well as I do that can change in an instant. They tunnel through Tartarus when they sense concentrations of life, energy. They breach.
Okay. Team, are you ready?
Sure.
1,512.
Is that 1,512?
2,512.
2,512. Okay. All right. Cool. I was going to say only half of the time Chief asks if you're ready.
But more times than we've actually gone on this mission.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, if you're ready to scramble, then we get to start with the engagement roll, which is a special fortune roll to find out what kind of a position you start off in, whether it's good or it's bad. So this is what is called a fortune roll, which I believe is just 1d6.
You gotta ask some questions.
Yeah. It starts off with 1d6 if I'm not mistaken, and then depending on okay, cool. So yes, you there's always hope. The protagonists start with 1 die for every mission. Is the mission particularly heroic or noble? Which is you take +1 dice, or does the mission's goal or methods reflect the worst parts of the protagonists? At which point you take 1 less die.
I'd say I think recovering someone's engine and their body is heroic, or noble at least.
I agree.
Not necessarily heroic, but definitely noble.
I agree. And so that's at 2. Is the mission following through on details from the protagonist's investigation? Take 1 die. Are the protagonist acting rashly or on very little information? Take -1 die. I think this is following through on details. I mean, if not from your investigation, you're following up on what happened in our session 0, essentially. So that'll put us up to 3. Does this mission determine the fate of a friend? We can say yes. We can say yes right off the bat to that one, and that's another die, so that's at 4 already. Does the tier exceed the current tier of the investigation track? No. And are there any other elements you want to consider due to circumstances or events? Does anybody have anything to put forth?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, say it one more time.
Are there other elements that you want to consider due to circumstances or events in your world? Basically, this is your chance to try to convince me that you should have more dice or potentially less dice if you think that would be more fun, I guess.
Snacks.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it.
I have to try this gambit now so we know, right? Like, cogs, time loop, circumstances. Just need to find out now if you're going to allow that kind of shenaniganery.
I mean, for a benefit or for a penalty?
For a benefit. I will, however,
That's an interesting
bargain with
question.
you and say we can make it a penalty some other times.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair. I think if I can decide when it gets to be a penalty instead of a bonus, I think that's fair to say.
I will fully give you discretion on that.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you're at 4 with the benefit. That's 5. So
It's a lot of
5d6. It is a lot of dice.
Could I argue for another benefit? But
I mean,
it could also be a negative. My presence, I don't know if that would detract or attract Leviathans.
Ooh.
That is a fair point. I think the bigger concern on your mind, Troy, and in the back of your mind might be, are you going to potentially lose control of your engine around like a defenseless engine?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think
I don't
that
know.
might apply a penalty. I think that might be a
Yeah.
concern that
Yeah.
is a mitigating factor. You don't know how you're going to be able to function around a defunct engine. So that brings it back down to 4.
Whoops. Sorry, guys.
No, I think that's half the fun. It wouldn't be any fun if it was always 6s.
Sure.
Who wants to roll 4d6?
I nominate Chief.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
second this.
I was gonna say, not
nomination.
me. I am the worst
You're
roller.
leading us into battle. You have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did a test roll. I should not have been nominated. That was bad.
Well, good thing you did nominate me, because I did get a 1, but I got a 2, and then I got a 4, and then I got a 6.
Yes.
Amazing.
All right. You are in a controlled position when the action starts. Things are going as planned, and the protagonists are setting the tempo.
Yes.
So that is fantastic. Basically, what that means is that we are going to cut, I think, to an outside view of the Delphi, and there's probably a warning alert that is sounding that the crew are hearing, which is basically like stand by, engines launching, stand by. And I think with a hiss, a large panel on the side of the Delphi that marks where the hangar is kind of parts like a metal curtain, and like starts to slide open, pushes out a little bit, continues to slide around the outside of the whole ship, and opens from the hangar. And inside of that hangar, if one were to be outside looking in, like our kind of camera perspective is in this situation, I think you would see that same hangar where the engines are always kind of hanging out, being worked on, being recharged, being repaired, whatever. But that sort of that catwalk that runs around the top of it is veiled and sort of shielded in this like blue semi-transparent energy, clearly stopping anyone on the other side of it from being sucked out into the vacuum of space. So the only things inside the hangar are various engines, and with creaks and groans or whatever else, you all step off of the walls. And I think we have not really had a chance to talk about what your engines look like. Seems like a perfect opportunity for introductions. So who would like to describe their massive, horrific combination of technology and skeletal being?
I'll go first. I think I briefly described Ati last time as being like a weird mix of like non-Euclidean proportions that kind of shift and contract mixed with an apple seed mech. So few too many eyes, maybe they move. It's a mech, but is it? It is like in shades of gray and black and blue, and as soon as it leaves the Delphi and leaves whatever shield range, it's almost like it disappears against the backdrop of the stars, and then you see little like lights pick up so that it blends in completely.
Yeah, I like that. It looks like a mech, but it also kind of looks like something is always straining to bust out from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible.
Love my
Truly
baby
horrific.
child.
Yep. Who's next?
I can go next, I guess.
Okay.
So Grace has, it's very big, probably a mix between the yellow Power Ranger and an actual giant like dead tiger. So one ear is like floppy, and the other ear is mechanically like up because it has like, stuff in it, and it's a bright orange with stripes, which is one of the reasons it's called Carrot, and it's got so one ear is mechanically up, the other ear is really droopy. Its like skin is a little bit saggy around like the jowls and stuff, so it's very like, it has one bionic eye, one regular eye, just very like mixed match pieces of tech and not. And it can, if this is allowed, can be both like on 2 legs but also on 4 legs.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it has like cross like one bionic leg or 2 bionic legs like opposite each other, and then like regular ones opposite, but the regular ones are very, very like, again, the skin's very saggy. There was a lot of muscle under there, and it's just kind of like started like disintegrating over time. So I've been just stuffing things in there to keep it together, because I don't want to lose this one. So there's like lumps in skin pockets of where Grace has just like stuffed like food wrappers and like whatever she had on hand to kind of just fix the problem, because she's afraid of getting like snagged on something. And yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, as chat described it, the Five Nights at Freddy's mech.
You're welcome.
Incredibly accurate. Fantastic. All right, cool. That's Carrot. Cypher or Carmenta?
I can go next.
Go ahead,
Sure,
by
yeah.
all means.
Okay, so I pilot my mech, affectionately known as A&W, because A&W is the fusion of 2 old gods. One is instantly familiar to most people. Anubis, the Egyptian god of death, has been stitched together with his brother Wepwet, another, not a jackal like Anubis, but a wolf, a white wolf, which is a god of hunting and ceremony and also guiding those who die, specifically the pharaohs, the kings. And A&W has been bisected, not cleanly through the middle at one point. It is very dirty and almost Frankenstein-esque how the skin has been torn in places. And on one side you have black skin and fur, and the other side you have white skin and fur. And at the center where you would have one head, it's actually the 2 heads have been set aside, so you have 2 dog-like heads staring out into space. They look more, their body, it looks very organic except for their limbs, which are very much just bare metal that can articulate into various tools. and holding in its right arm is a staff that has on one end an ankh, and then on the other side a screwdriver. Not a screwdriver, excuse me, a wrench, a giant wrench. And I described this last time. I use drones to repair various mechs, and you can see crawling all over this staff of his are these little black and golden scarabs that are like seemingly going constantly in and out of it like it's a hive.
I love that a lot.
Guess that just
Yes.
leaves Carmente.
Sure
Doesn't
does.
It is a tall and more feminine looking mech. She is dressed in a gown with hard points at the shoulders, elbows, hips, and ankles. She wears a 3-point crown as well. Her midriff is by magnets or by magic or some other force suspended over a single axle, and attached to that axle are a long blade and a short blade. They always tell the time because Antivorta is the god of the future. Her 3-point crown indicates the 12, of course. She is not perfect, though. An eye is very clearly missing, carved out for Cogs's little cockpit, and the flesh of her arms and whatever mechanical Cogs could get his hands on have, and forgive me for this reference, the Doctor Who tally marks carved into them from Cogs counting while they were in the battlefield and needing a way to write down what they were counting.
Very cool. I love that. So is it like the long blade and the short blade are kind of like, what's the word, perpendicular to the rest of her as they like go
They
around?
protrude from her midriff and are attached to that axle, and when they're not being wielded, they turn.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Love that. Like the hands of a clock.
The points in her outfit form the time indicators.
Very cool. I love that. That is very, very cool. When you all launch out of the Delphi and out into the cold darkness of space, you feel it and you see it kind of envelope you. I don't think any of you have probably been out here since the mission where you lost your commander. But you have the instruments that have been built into your engines. You have that they point you in the direction of this very weak signal that is emerging. And as you make your way over there by various means, jump jets, you see a cluster of what appears to just be asteroids, what appears to just be your everyday run-of-the-mill cluster of rocks floating in space. But when you enter, you can also see, I think, that the signal starts to get a little confused. That the pings from the emergency beacon bouncing off of these rocks and kind of getting redirected by them and funneled through in different ways is kind of affecting your ability to navigate.
Can I navigate a different way?
I'm interested in what way that might be.
Can I smell it? Taste it on the wind, so to speak?
I kind of think that would be super fair to say. I do think that you're going to have to make an action roll for that, so I would need to know what you think would be fitting for that. I'm going to say that your position right now, I'm going to say, is controlled, because there really isn't a threat that you're aware of, at least not. And I'm going to say this is going to be of standard effect. So this is pretty much as good as you can get in your current circumstances. what do you want to roll?
I mean, a perceive roll is just the most logical.
It is.
So is that how many dice? Is that?
Do you have anything in perceive?
I do. It's just I have one in a check mark in purple, and I don't know if that means one dice or
So
it's position
have-
of the check mark.
you have one regular one and one purple one?
I just have a purple.
Oh, you just have the purple one. Then yeah, that's one die.
One dice.
Well,
Okay.
hold on. No.
No.
Purple's
I
only
should
if
have-
you're transcended. If you're not
Oh,
transcended
you're
right
right.
now.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking
Not.
blue and purple, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
transcended. You could transcend.
Okay.
But you can only do that for a certain number of actions.
Mm-hmm.
You can still
that-
do it, and if you would
Yeah.
like, here's the thing. We don't have any. Yeah, we didn't build any links, but you could push yourself. That gives you 2 stress.
Mhm.
That would then at least give you 1 die.
Yeah, so here's what I think happens. All the little arms on this mech kind of flare out, and Ati twists in on herself, and it becomes very obvious that Troyan is not piloting any longer to anyone who's watching. But she doesn't come over the comms and say anything. This is normal.
Okay,
And
so
so I
you're
think
gonna
I'm
take
gonna
2 stress.
push myself. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's fine. I'm at 5. We're good.
It is totally fine. Yeah.
I bought new dice for this game, and I love this. I rolled a 5.
Yeah. Very good. All right, it pays off. So you take 2
Yeah.
stress. But yeah, what does it look like? You mentioned that it's clear you're not in charge. You're not piloting per se.
It's like, because it's already hard to see Ati against the backdrop, but now that we're amongst the asteroids, let's call it dynamic camouflaging she does isn't quite as quick to catch up to all the rocks when she's moving. It's still a little difficult to see her, but you guys essentially see her go into like a crouched cat, like hunting something. And it's very obvious that whatever Troyan and Ati are doing, it's not operating off sensors. It's senses. And then
All
once
right.
Troyan's sure that Ati has an idea, she'll come over comms. I think I found our boy.
So you'll hear that blasting over your, or not blasting, but you hear that like crackle over your shared comms with each other.
Oh, it's so creepy
you-
when you do that. It is so creepy when you do that.
Do what?
2,416.
Ugh.
People shouldn't become nothing and then become. You have to understand. Okay. I feel like none of you understand that this is not normal.
Me? Of course I'm not normal.
Oh. None of us are normal, Chief.
Hello, Raiders.
Hi,
I don't know. I'm
Raiders.
pretty
Hello.
normal. I don't know.
Yeah, Carrot's pretty normal.
For sure.
Mm.
No.
For sure.
2,120. No.
Carrot, we gotta talk.
Apparently.
I thought I was the
Hey.
weird one, but apparently not.
I don't know. I feel
yeah.
I just had a normal upbringing in a normal base with a normal family, unlike any of you.
No, I did.
So,
I was pretty normal.
that makes me sad.
Thanks. Wait, thanks is not the word I should say.
And I think that you're gonna hear another voice kind of crackle over the comms, and you're gonna recognize the general's voice as he says, "Try to stay on mission."
Is he listening? Did he always do this?
They're always listening.
Hi, Hiram.
2,416.
Have
Okay.
you found the engine yet?
On the trail.
Ati, lead us into the right direction. I'll see if I can, once we get there, salvage what we can, or if maybe we move the whole engine. We'll see what we can do. Sound good?
Sounds good. Keep up. And Ati is gone.
Yeah. All right. So it is as you are kind of jetting your way through the rocks and the rubbles and the asteroids. I don't think any of you have a hard time keeping up in this sense, but I imagine the way that Ati moves is probably even more unsettling when you're just sort of like hands off, like just giving it free rein essentially.
Yeah.
So that's not great to look at. But
No.
otherwise, it kind of just like leads you on this very winding trail through here. You maybe have a couple close-ish calls with some of the smaller like rocks and debris. Like you round one asteroid and there's another piece of one just sort of hanging there in front of you. And you have to quickly move out of the way. But you don't suffer. None of these hit you. You don't have any real issues affecting you until you round another one in the field. And as you do, you see in the distance small object, would look small to you from your current perspective, just floating there. Now that you all have like a clear view of it, I think your sensors can kind of like zoom in and you can see the unmistakable form of Kiernanos, the engine Kiernanos, which has seen better days for sure. Kiernanos is certainly on the bigger side for an engine, almost like bulky and kind of top heavy. The lower legs, which are fully robotic, are definitely more slender and like jointed backwards, more like a deer's, as unsurprisingly. But the mech itself is very top heavy, has this sort of like golden armor that covers the vast majority of its of what would be its exposed necrotized flesh. Some of it grafted on, some of it's just wearing. Normally it has a cloak, but that's tattered, and I think you can also see where parts of the armor have been ripped away or dented or blackened. Holes punched through it. Over its head, it wears a massive gold helm of a similar material, and from that helm, large racks of antlers sprout. And you can also see Kiernanos normally carries a massive spear made out of that same metal, which doubles as like an energy lance, and that's just kind of floating in space beside it. You can tell that it has no power. It's not operational. All of your engines have a little bit of like a kind of like a nimbus of light around them when they're active. Kiernanos does not have that.
I think the first thing Chief does is he scans Kiernanos for life signs.
Sure. Yeah, I think that is going to require an action roll.
Yep.
And I think just to see
Analyze,
what'll happen
probably?
here. Yeah, analyze makes a lot of sense.
I will. Yeah,
Do you
I
have
don't have
points in
anything
that?
in there. No, I don't. So I'm just gonna push
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
I'm gonna get myself as
I'd
close to
also-
Eclipse as possible.
I appreciate that. First of all, I will offer you a bonus die in exchange
Okay.
for a poisoned promise.
Oh, let's do this. I would love a poison promise. I love
All
when
right.
Let's
the GM
fucking go.
love when the GM can say something bad's gonna happen to you. You don't get to know what it is until it happens, though.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so instead of stress, I'll take a poison promise, and you'll give me an extra die for that.
Yeah, I was going to say you could do that in addition to the stress, or you could do it instead of the stress. That's up to you.
Instead of the stress.
Yeah, like if
So-
you just want one die,
Yep,
you can do that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Let's do that. Just one die.
All right.
Okay, well, I should have taken the next one. Only a 2, which I was in controlled, which I falter.
Yeah. I think that does make sense.
Can I narrate a little bit what I think he's doing? What it looks like?
Yeah, please, by all means.
So I think as we get closer and our sensors can pick up the Forum Kyrnos, Chief in his cockpit starts to have his eyes widen a bit and his heart rate increases notably. Anyone who is back at our base can notice my heart rate has started to spike, and immediately I go, AW, scan for life now, and you can see the 4 eyes of A&W glow. One set of eyes golden, one set of eyes silver, and through their ties to death, they try to find love, and I think they both fail, and it just brings a rock from my throat, where it was making it hard for me to breathe, into my gut, and now it weighs heavy, pulling me down deeper into my seat as I look on at Wildheart's floating coffin in this space.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think between the 2 and the lost opportunity, I think between the 2 and the poison promise, I think the only thing that really makes sense here is I'll say this, Ati, your engine stops short. You were kind of in like the hunt mode,
Mm-hmm.
and now its energy, its demeanor is shifting
As a
more like it's feeling hunted.
yeah, it's over the comms. As up, we're on alone.
And as you all look around, you do see the unmistakable ripples in kind of reality itself start to spread around you. It's almost like these sort of dark ripples in the fabric of space itself, kind of emanating out. It's a very subtle effect. If you weren't trained to know what to look for, you probably wouldn't think twice about it. But you've seen these, some of you have seen these plenty of times, well enough to know what it means. That very soon this is going to be a breach site.
How much time was it? Like, Ati was faster than the sensors by how much? I would like to know.
Which sensors?
Like, well, not necessarily sensors. Ati was faster in noticing them arriving than before everybody else, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yeah.
By how long? Few seconds?
Probably not by much. Like I'm saying, I don't think anyone would have noticed the ripples if you didn't call attention to it.
Okay.
So I think when you say eyes up, people start paying more attention, and that's when you all notice this thing. Like your instruments aren't really picking anything up yet, which means you probably have a little bit of time, but it's impossible to know exactly how much. Sometimes, like, it depends on the Leviathan. Sometimes the breach is like immediate and they just kind of slide out. But sometimes they kind of have to claw and fight their way out and struggle. And it takes a long time.
Do I have enough time to grab him and run?
That is a question.
That is my exact same thought. So I want to feel like our mission is to recover the Kyrnos.
Not
we don't
bad.
need to fight. We don't need to fight.
Say the word, Chief.
Okay. Ati, you're on me. We're gonna get him out of here.
Let's go.
Cogs? Grace?
Hmm.
Keep your eyes out. You take care of anything that goes after us.
725.
Oh, come on.
So it sounds like we have a strategy. I know that, okay, so, and there might be teamwork happening, it sounds like, between at least Cypher and Ati.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So then I guess the real question, if we're doing that, would be, since it's two of you, that would probably be more of an assist as opposed to a group action. So which one of you is going to be, I guess, the primary, and which one of you is going to be assisting?
I think it depends on who's faster.
There's no like.
Yeah, there's no like speed.
Yeah.
There's not. I think we could probably extrapolate just based on your engines that Dangun might be. That is yours, right, Cass? No.
No, I'm Ati.
Ati, right. Sorry, your call sign is your engine.
Yeah.
Ati strikes me as maybe being faster than A&W, but
Probably.
yeah.
Ati's used to running.
That is really fair. So it sounds like you might be the primary. So Cypher, you're going to mark 1 stress. And Troyan, what are you trying to roll for this?
I don't know if it's a defy or a conceal, because if I can get wrapped up around Carnanos, however we're saying it, I might be able to, Carnanos, and like conceal it, maybe hide that sensor and long enough from the ripples, which is obviously what they're pinging off of, to run and everybody just follow. Or if it's a defy, if it's like the thrill of the no, my snack, not yours.
It could be any of those. It could be flow also, I will say that, since you're doing something that involves speed and agility. But I like defy. Conceal almost seems like a separate thing.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe like defy or flow makes a lot of sense to me. You could also transcend if you want at this point, but
I'm wondering if it's because my transcendent ability is once you engage a foe, I can't back down though.
Yeah, it is.
So don't know if that helps in this particular moment just yet.
That's fair.
I think I'm gonna go with Sun. I think I might push myself to get a second die.
Okay, cool. I like that a lot. So you have a bonus die. You mean you're going with defy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I said
so then
words.
I think you have the 1 die to start with. You have the 1 that Cypher gave you, so that's you at 2 already.
Yeah. And then get a third.
Cool. And you're taking 2 stress for that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Getting so close to eclipsing, guys.
Oh no, you really are.
Yeah.
Remember, we have links. We use
You
them
do.
to
Session 1, I did not have the worst stress roll, but I didn't have the best one either.
I don't think that there are a lot of Troyan links in play.
No,
I have a bunch.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what am I looking for here?
I mean a 4, 5, or 6. Ideally 6s.
I got a 6, a 3, and a 1.
Okay. All right. 6 is all you need. That makes it a full success. So that does mean I think that you kind of take off. Because you rolled Defy, I think it could make a lot of sense and it could be fun if Chief maybe like told you not to.
You hear just over the radio like, now don't go crazy over there. Oh shit, she's going crazy over there.
So what happens? Let me tell you what happens. As I dart in and extra little arms pop out of the sides of Ahti and then like wrap Kiernonas up like in a baby Bjorn. And there's like a little twirl midair to like fully like compress whatever's left of this engine up against Ahti's form. And then you say, don't go crazy. And Ahti's already like zooming and Troyan's like, let's go.
Yeah, you get there, Ahti, and you wrap Kiernanos up. While you and Cypher are doing that, Carmente and Carrot, you're keeping an eye out, making sure that bad things don't start to happen here while you're trying to finish your mission. And I think the two of you would notice at this point, the ripples have kind of been from an undetermined point of origin, all just kind of around you. Now you actually spot and kind of zero in on a place in reality itself that is starting to bubble. Like you see this one particular point not far off from you, where where you can kind of see out into the vastness of space and like the nebula, the stars, whatever beyond. But this particular expanse kind of goes two-dimensional and starts to bubble and expand outward as something is unmistakably trying to force its way out.
Do you have a number for that?
725.
Okay. So we make it, right? That's what this means.
I can't tell you.
It's okay, you can lie to me. I won't tell anybody.
I can't lie to you.
You're no fun. Hey, we have does space bubble? I don't think space bubbles, Grace is just gonna say over like the comms to everybody.
Means
all
that
know
they're
what
coming.
This means. Yeah.
It means they're coming. That means you got to take care of it. We're going now back to the base.
Okay. Grace will just get into battle position.
For sure, yeah. What does that look like for Carrot? Does Carrot have does Dangun have weaponry or anything like that?
So Dangun has like laser rockets that like
Yep. Anything you say, I'm gonna nod and say yes to.
off its back. Like it has like its shoulders like fold in normally because its shoulders are tech, but then like its shoulders like will like it'll go down onto all fours, and then the rockets will come out of the shoulders. Yeah. That's what that looks like.
One of the great things about the system and the fact that like the mechanics stay the same no matter what means that anything you really want to describe about these, I'm gonna nod and say yes to, because it's gonna come down to the same rules as everything else. So go absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. Cool. All right. And is Carmente doing the same? Are the swords coming off?
Oh yeah.
All right. Very cool.
The tally marks, the silence. Someone reminded me in chat the name of the creature. The silence marks, the little tallies that Cox keeps, sort of begin to crackle and glow as the axle that basically makes up the midriff of Antivorta, hisses and the two blades pop off. And it is as though you were seeing movements happen before they happen. When the mech finally starts to move, grab the blades. The long blade is, of course, forehand, as you would wield a long blade, and the hour hand is wielded backhand. And they sort of take a stance.
Love that. And I think as you take that stance, and as Ati enfolds Kiernanos, and as Cypher just about reaches Ati, some of those smaller bubbles that have been forming start to pop and break open, and you see these things emerging through the breach in reality. They are not massive enough. They're not big enough to be Leviathans, but you all have seen these before. You have seen these smaller creatures that resemble nothing. Oh, here he comes. Can you get off the keyboard?
Baby.
Yes.
Can you just...
I've
There's good
been
in this
waiting for
world,
this
Mr. Frodo.
moment.
This is what emerges from the dark.
This is what emerges from the dark.
He's still so
EP.
eepy.
He's still so EP.
The baby.
The baby. I'm just gonna speaking of, like, I'm gonna hold him like one, because that's gonna keep him
See,
calm
this
for
is
a
how
little
I'm
while.
holding Kiernanos. It's fine, guys.
Just like this.
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
Just like this. Hello. As you look upon them, these small creatures that resemble nothing so much as regionally, where I am, we call them like pill bugs.
Yeah. Roly
They're
polies.
like silverfish, pill bug kind of creatures, except each one is significantly smaller than you all, than your engines. But that still makes them roughly the size of a mail truck. And you see them starting to break through. There's a popping sound across all of reality. And they immediately start swimming through the vacuum of space towards you, Cogs, and you, Grace.
105.
And I think we are going to take a break there and be back in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we'll see what happens to our intrepid mech pilots. We'll see if he goes back to sleep. But yeah, don't go away. We'll be back real soon. then let's get back to it, shall we? Hello everyone, we're back. And
Hi.
my son is awake. So, when we left off, there were many weird eldritch space bugs racing towards a couple members of our intrepid mech pilot group here. And so, I have to ask, what are y'all doing?
Morphin time. No.
I mean, if you're transcending,
Transcend immediately.
Grace isn't going to yet. Not yet.
all right. Basically, I guess the question is: how are you going to address this threat of space bugs racing towards you?
So
They're going to try to latch onto you.
I have a question, a rules question, if you will. Flashbacks. Am I understanding those as Blades of the Dark flashbacks?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I have a time traveler ability to rewind return. I've been through this timeline at least once before. Flashbacks cost 1 stress less than normal. How did this go wrong the first time? So if I may, I would like to flashback to one of the previous 105 iterations of this timeline.
Ooh, okay, I love that. I think that makes a lot of sense. So you have to spend stress for that.
Yes, which I'm not sure of the initial cost to do so.
Stop! No, don't stop it.
There's good in this
He just
world,
does
Mr.
it.
Frodo.
He just does it without
He needs to
warning. He
be
just tries to climb up onto the
heard.
mic arm.
Flashback stress cost depends on how obvious the preparations or simple the tasks are.
Right.
For Cogs, I think it would amount to just remembering to bring a wide range explosive, because Antivorta is not a very multi-enemy handling being, and so having some of those like little backup things would be, I think, within Cogs's cognizance.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a 1 stress flashback.
Okay. So,
And I
0.
do think that there is going to be there's going to be an action roll involved in this, obviously, because you
Mhm.
still have to, like,
Yes.
use the explosive.
Cool. Do you have a preferred stat?
I mean, that's for you to tell me. What do you want to roll for this?
Well, I want to say Defy Flow makes the most sense, which makes me sad because I don't have pips in either.
You have a pip. You have a transcended pip in flow.
I do. You know what? I think it makes sense. Someone has to be the first to transcend, and also the
That's
most
what I always
foolish
say.
to do it.
I love that. So now that we have someone who is transcending, what does that look like? You are fully syncing with the divine spark that dwells within your engine and letting it merge with you.
I think Cogs is very obviously very nonchalant about it, on account of they have done this maybe upwards of 3,000 times before, without choice and without fail. It is the same every time. They kick a lever in their cockpit and they push their connection back into the actual sort of nerve-ending connection of the mech itself. Cogs's eyes begin to glow a bright electric yellow, and the single eye that Antivorta has glows along with it. And anyone outside the mech watches as phantoms of every possible iteration of Antivorta begin to sort of move and shift out of the mech as it moves. So every time an arm swings, there are a dozen different arcs and swings and possibilities. In this case, she is moving to reach into a small compartment in her chest, where she then pulls out an explosive that whips out, and like Antivorta, the explosive is also impacted by this sort of phantom arc.
Love that. Roll with what did we settle on? Flow. Okay.
Because you
And,
talked me into transcendence.
You did. I did. Sorry, I did. And also, let's just real quick, since this is the first time this has come up in play, look at Antivorta, clever, and calculating. So clever is your virtue.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think here? Do you think you are aligning with the virtue, aligning with the impulse, or neither?
I think there are arguments to be made for both. I think in this case, I would like to argue for clever.
Okay.
Just because 105 instances of these pill bugs pouring out, guessing that the bomb is what we would have needed.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think this might even be like SOP for dealing with these swarms of creatures. You know also that these kinds of creatures sort of have like a pilot fish symbiotic relationship with the Leviathans, where they're kind of like clinging to them and living on their bodies, and maybe performing grooming tasks. Nobody's been able to spend enough time studying them to understand the nature of the relationship. But the Leviathans are always accompanied by these things, and similar to the Leviathans, they are also drawn to life force. It tends to be much easier for them to breach. Very Pacific Rim, yes. The inspirations for this game are not subtle. But yeah, go ahead and roll with flow and take a bonus die because you are acting within your engine's virtue.
Oh, I don't have a dice tower anymore. It's packed away in my car.
Oh, man.
But on the 2 dice, that is a 6 and a 1.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, the 6 is the one that matters. That is a full success on your action roll, which means that, yeah, your bomb goes off. If you want to describe what this looks like, absolutely feel free, but you succeed in what you want to do, and you can kind of tell me a little bit about what the effect is.
Yeah, I think this is probably a Cogs designed and over the course of 3,000 iterations perfected bomb. Before this started happening to them, they were an engineer. So it's like a naval mine, but built for space. So it's a little more, high-techy sci-fi. The little spikes on the mine are electromagnetic to sort of give off a similar signal as a life sign to the bugs, so that they are more drawn to it before it detonates. And once enough are within range, it gives off a sort of blue pulse.
Hell yeah. So you just kind of see it like get thrown out into space, and it pulses a couple times until the roaches are like right on top of it, and then it goes off and consumes a great many of them. You do hear a noise in the aftermath of this that almost sounds like screams, like weird little shrill bug screams. That doesn't make sense because you're in space, obviously, but it might be something more weird, more spectral. Kind of hard to say, but you do hear that, you do experience that. I should say that when you made that roll, I think it's extremely fair to say that you were at a risky position, but I don't think you were desperate, so I don't think you mark XP or anything. Stop. I saw you thinking about it. Sorry. Yeah, so I think you were in a risky position, but standard effect. And that is exactly what happened, is it went off with standard effect and wiped out a bunch of the bugs, but more of them are pouring through, as always, unfortunately, as is so often the case. Carrot, what are you going to do? You mentioned laser rockets?
I have laser rockets. So she sees you do your stuff and is like debating on whether she should transcend or not, but then chooses not to and just fires laser rockets into the bubble hole.
All right. Very cool. What do you want to roll for this?
I think I want to roll I don't really know. Probably analyze, maybe empathize, maybe. Look.
I'd be interested to hear your thoughts about how shooting laser rockets is empathizing.
Well, Grace has excuses for everything, so well, because Grace was just gonna run, okay, and go catch up with everybody else because weird space pill bugs. But then Cogs was like staying and fighting, and so instead of leaving Cogs, Grace is also gonna stay and fight. You know, empathizing with Cogs' situation of having to stay and fight.
Okay, all right. I'm down for it. I think you are going to be at reduced effectiveness if that's the case, because that action is a little thin, shall we say. By your own definition, you're basically saying that Grace doesn't want to be in this fight, but Grace is going to stay because of empathy.
Right.
So I think that is going to affect your effectiveness somewhat. I will put it out there that if you also wanted to transcend, the obvious one here obviously is flow, because that's more of that same like agility, precision kind of thing. If you transcended, you would have the same score to start with in flow that you have in analyze or in empathize. But if you want, and you wouldn't have reduced effectiveness basically, but you would have to transcend to get that dot.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stick with empathize?
Yeah, I guess I can transcend because I don't want to affect the team. That's not fair.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna make you do anything. It's whatever you want to do. But yeah, if you want to transcend, you can roll to flow, and you will not be at reduced effectiveness.
Okay, so this is what's gonna happen because Cogs has a nice pretty dress and does pretty things. So Grace is going to be like, I want to do pretty things too. And Dangun, when we transcend, he becomes a magical anime girl. So
go on.
Our whole transcending thing is like very similar. So he does like a twirl, right? And then like garlic and mugwort just like flies out from who knows where. And during this transformation, he grows a little skirt. And then, yeah, and then it ends with them doing this.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And does anything happen to Grace? Do you change it all in the cockpit? Because you're merging.
Well, no, totally. So Grace kind of takes on more like cat-looking eyes from the original, like, because in this universe, Dangun is a tiger because I decided. So, and just get like their senses get more sensy, I guess. And they actually get very serious. So it's almost like Dangun takes on their like extrovert personality and they become like this introvert that's like very like, okay, mission complete, mission on type of thing. Person.
That is amazing. I appreciate you also just like knocking our quota out by having both a magical girl and a cat girl. We just check all of those off, and now we're covered. Perfect. All right, fantastic. So you can roll with Flo. You have 1 die to start with. Let's take a look at your virtue and your impulse.
I have a purple.
Dungeons. Yes, that is so that's 1 die, but you only get it when you're transcended. So now that you're transcended, you have the 1 die. I would say this is probably brave. Brave is Dangun's virtue. And when your actions align with your engine's virtue, it gives you a bonus die. So I would say you have 2 to start with. And if you just want to roll those 2, you can, or you can take stress to give yourself additional bonus dice or whatever you want. Stop it.
No, I think 2's good. I got a 6 and a 1.
That's exactly the same roll that JT got. Perfect. So you are also succeeding here, and I think your effect was standard because you went with flow, and your position again risky but not desperate. So you don't mark XP or anything. But yeah, you succeed. It's not a mixed success; it's a full success. So what does it look like? What do you do to stop this tide of bugs?
So to stop this tide of bugs, my lovely transcended Dungan is going to
Stop.
use his shoulder rockets, but he's gonna time them in a way that they like connect, like collide right at the opening when the bugs are coming out. So it simulates a bomb, but is not a bomb, but simulates a bomb.
So that's perfect. So Carmente's bomb goes off as the bugs like hit the halfway point, and then wipes out a huge number of them, but more are swarming through the breach. And as that is happening, Carrot, you transcend and you launch your laser rockets towards that opening and wipe out even more of them. And I think you see like a couple of stragglers starting to try to crawl their way out along the edges of that hole as the aftermath of your the like viscera and the bug parts that are kind of floating there in the wake of your explosions drift out of your view. You see a few stragglers trying to like crawl their way out, but I think you also see a couple, maybe we'll say, it's hard to say how many exactly, at least 2, no more than 5 massive inky black tentacles emerge from the small gaps that the bugs created and others in the process. Not necessarily on purpose, but just as an aftermath of trying to force their way out. And you see them starting to like strain at the barrier and widen the holes to let the Leviathan on the other side out into your world. You're not sure how long that's going to take exactly, but in the meantime, it doesn't seem like any more of the swarm are coming after you. So cutting back to Ahti and Cypher and the inactive Kiernanos. What do you want to do?
We need to get out of here as soon as possible. Ahti, move, go.
Sorry, my headphones completely disconnected for no fucking good reason.
Oh, no.
I was like, we're good. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, actually, I have a thing.
Yeah,
okay.
I might have a thing too.
I'm gonna set you up to get out of here. Teamwork action. I have to do something else to get you ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to perceive what I view as the best possible escape route for Ati to get out of the way.
Okay.
So
I love that. Yeah, go for it.
So the 4 eyes on A&W light up again, and I ask the gods to find me the best way out of here. I only have 1 die in that. Should I transcend as well? Because I'll give... Oh, actually... Oh, wait, it doesn't matter right now. Okay, because you don't have anything in your recovery clocks yet. You haven't been hurt.
It's true.
My transcendence ability is if I assist or set up someone, they can mark 1 segment of the recovery clock, which doesn't help in this exact moment. But
No, but it is good to know.
it is good to know. I think I'm just going to transcend so I can increase the chance of this occurring.
Okay.
So for when I transcend with A&W, this machine is the result of me literally bolting and fusing flesh and metal and bone together of 2 brothers who had been left for dead. And so when I transcend, 2 big things happen. 1, the seam that goes up A&W's body glows with the divine spark of these 2 gods that have been left to be nothing but food for the Leviathan, if not from me reaching so hard to save them. So you can see that divinity start to kind of pool out like almost like flakes of like snowflakes, except pulling out of my body. And inside of A&W, I was one of the very first engine pilots. So it was very primitive back then. And unlike the rest of you that can kind of operate with a little bit of like just intuitive and better handling, I have effectively a socket in my neck that connects me directly to A&W. And you can, in the cockpit, you can see it like has now strapped my head back, and I'm now like forced to look straight ahead. I can't look anywhere else. And I now start again back at the home base. You can see my heart rate just racing. This is so bad for my heart. This is so bad. It's a good thing I can't smoke in space. And he goes into like a full analyze mode. The console on the inside has like all types of trajectory points to kind of input where he can direct you to go. And I will perceive with 2 die, because now that I'm transcended, I get access to that one.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks because I got 2 2s. So that I'm not having a good day.
That is extremely fair. I will say that I do think that this is acting within your engine's impulse of sentimental. And so I think that does not cost you a mark of your transcendence track.
Perfect.
So don't worry about that. But Jen, I did forget to say, Grace, I did forget to say, mark your transcendence track, that 4 dot track, because you took an action as you were transcended. And Carmente, I'm pretty sure you did, but just a reminder. Cool. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you are trying to analyze a way out.
The best way out, not just any way. Right. The best way. The
best way out. And I think as you are starting to draw those trajectories, as you're starting to analyze that data and break it down through your engine systems, unfortunately, your systems go crazy. Your sensors go crazy and start lighting up, because those tentacles are breaching a lot faster than anyone thought that they would. And you might not have even been aware of that situation taking place if you were trusting the rest of your wing to handle all of those problems. But I think now, as you were trying to analyze for the best way out, all of the like sort of simulations and all of the projections are failing. And as you look, you just see that mass of tentacles erupt through the breach that is now created. And you see the head of this Leviathan start to emerge with the rest of the body following after it. You see massive, clawed, primitive hands. There's no thumb that you can see, but just like claws basically kind of like emerge out of the breach and latch on to try to widen it. Each one of those hands probably big enough to fully grasp your engine in one clutch. The head that is in the process of emerging is little more than a tube with that mass of tentacles sort of wriggling at the end of it. And I think as it wriggles, you can see inside that there is just a sort of a swirling mass of like throat and teeth in there. Two big black bug eyes on either side are like the only sense organs that you can really get a good look at. And the skin is sort of wet and leathery and oily. It's pretty gross, but it is now like hauling itself out through the breach into reality itself. And as a result of that failed roll, unfortunately, your excuse me, your what am I trying to say?
My setup.
Yes, yeah, sorry, right, your setup is not functional. Basically, there is no way out now that this massive catastrophic threat is on the field, at least not a good one that you can find.
Can I, at least before like anyone else takes an action, can I instinctively send a signal back to the Delphi requesting backup?
Yeah, absolutely. You
Okay.
blast off a call for aid.
Yep. So I do that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
how much spark does Cernennos have left?
Oh boy, what a question. Truly what a question.
It's going to affect what I do.
A good amount.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is a little out of the order of operations of the game, but whatever you want to try to do, I would absolutely offer you a poison promise.
Well,
to eat
I
that
was going
spark.
I was going to do a teamwork action to turn around, eat the spark, and lead the group into taking this thing down.
Okay.
But I didn't know if that counted as multiple actions.
No, because the poison promise would be the bonus to your roll would come from eating the spark. That would be something that I would offer you, if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay. I think the last thing Chief sees as he tells Ahti to run is Ahti freezing in midair, space, and turning around as this thing erupts through, and she almost expands to meet it. There's a skeleton in there, but it keeps growing and shrinking. It's a little
Okay.
loosey-goosey. And tentacles start to form off of Ahti, and the baby Bjorn starts to be absorbed, and Cernennos disappears into her, and it's like Ahti gets bigger. Ahti reads is stronger all of a sudden, and Troyan comes over the comms, and there's always been this sarcastic lilt to Troyan's voice as for the short time y'all have known her, and it's just gone now. Take out the eyes, put something down its throat it'll choke on,
725.
rip it to shreds.
Do you have a phrasing gif or anything, JT, on this channel? Or,
I know what I
I don't know how
said.
to put gifts on my channel yet.
I know what I said.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Ahti, what are you doing? I told you to run.
725.
We run, we lead it right back home.
You're not wrong. It's probably what's going to happen. Okay. Team. Shove something down its throat.
Got a lot of
It'll
big
choke
rocks.
I got a nice big carrot for it.
Knew I liked you
2,416.
every single time.
Again, more times than you've been on the mission.
No, the exact same number of times we've been
Is
on
that
the
the exact
mission.
number?
Yeah, I wrote it
Perfect.
down.
Just a common number of phrases.
Mm,
Love that.
Okay.
I love it.
Fantastic. So it sounds like this is more of a group action than a setup.
Yeah.
It sounds like you are leading the action, Ati. So, you're gonna have to identify the action, and everybody that is participating in it is gonna make the same roll. You only have to take the best results from the contributors as the overall success for the group, but for every member of the group action who rolls a 1 or a 3, or 1, 2, 3, the leader, you, is gonna take 1 stress.
Oh shit. Okay. That's
Yep.
fine. Does this like count as part of my impulse of being calculating at all? I don't know.
This
Or
feels like the
fears for
opposite
my-
of calculating. But I
Or
do
fear
think that it could. Yeah, I think this is definitely fierce.
Okay.
So you can take a bonus die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Defy for this one. How we doing?
Defies pretty good.
Prognosis
Makes
is
sense
not
to me.
phenomenal for me, but I'm sure that we can handle it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
I mean, group actions are tricky because you're never going to find one thing that, well, you're probably
Yeah.
not going to find one thing that
Yeah.
everybody has, but
Mhm.
Yeah. Chuck, will you bless the dice baby? The dice have been
yeah,
licked. Okay.
another question real quick is, are you transcending? You are the only untranscended member of your group at the moment.
Yeah, actually, because my rival isn't here, and only my rival can stress me.
That's true. I
right.
love it. What does it look like when Ati transcends?
Ati's already like expanding, but on all of these like arms that have and tentacles that have come out, it's like Ati looks at this big thing with like the sarlacc mouth and goes, okay, and little mouths start popping up along. Like, what's the move on here? Is anything you can do I can do better?
Yes, that is the move that you took as the outsider.
So.
Fantastic, very cool. Yeah, I love that. Does anything happen to Troyan in the cockpit?
Oh, yeah. Whatever sensors the Ati's allowed them to stick in here to keep an eye on her. I'm sure one of them is a camera. Ati starts expanding. Troyan's life signs go dead. Heart rate flatlines. No breath. No life signs whatsoever. Eyes. You guys remember X-Files, how like when the aliens like would show themselves, their eyes would like do the weird like squiggly black things? Her eyes start doing that and bleeding completely black, and black veins start erupting around her eyes and like bleeding, like the blood, the veining that you see usually on her just expands all the way down, and any color that was in her skin just disappears. She is a pasty white sheet. And she starts smiling.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic. All right, cool. So, you are leading the assault. So the rest of your team forms up around you.
Okay.
You blast towards this thing. Cypher is like probably on your 6. Carmente and Carrot fall into line as you pass them.
Mhm.
Everybody, roll Defy.
Ah, I dropped the die. Shit.
So if I have nothing in it, I roll 2 and take the lowest, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I got a 2.
I got a 4. I rolled a 6 and a 4.
Okay.
Nice.
Logan, I think you might be muted.
Yeah, I was muted. I saw that. I got a
Cool.
5.
All right.
Got a 4.
Okay. All right. You're only taking 1 stress, though. That's huge because
That's
that
huge.
does not mean, that you have 1 left before you eclipse.
Oh, no,
Um,
there's a chance of eclipse. You can maybe not
Right.
eclipse.
That is true. Fantastic. All right, cool. So you take 1 stress. The highest result that I heard was a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So it is going to be mixed. But what you are attempting to do here, it sounded like, was not necessarily to kill this thing, but to try to force it back, maybe?
I want to shove an asteroid down its throat and back through the breach.
Right. Cool. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, you succeed in this. I think obviously what the rest of you are going to see is what the rest of you are going to see is that as you all sort of fly in this formation, you move towards its eyes, you move to also kind of like blast down its gullet. But you see, especially as the leader of your action, Ati, taking one of these asteroids, kind of pushing it ahead of them, shoving it into this thing's maw to force it back through the barrier. And you see the force that the asteroid is launched with. It goes into its mouth against its will. The tentacles start writhing, but you do see a couple of them just sort of instinctively lash out around Ati. And Ati, you are going to take some harm unless you resist.
No,
What'd you say?
I'm not resisting.
You don't want to resist?
What's your
Okay.
game? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm curious. I have questions.
Yeah, so will the
is-
people back at base. So
That is fair. I think at this particular moment in time, you are going to. It's going to be 1 harm as the tentacles kind of wrap around Ati and start to squeeze. And because you are transcended and because you are linked, you are feeling all of this because you are one and the same essentially in this moment. Yep, I saw that too. So yeah, you are gonna like have less effect when you take actions moving forward, but you are kind of ensnared in this thing at the moment.
so I
But
just
yeah,
mark,
you do
like,
see it.
type in ensnared on there.
Yeah, I think that's fair to put for your 1 harm.
Mhm.
And I think the rest of you see this thing starting to drift back towards the breach, back into where it came from, but it looks like it is dragging Ati with it.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not
Can
ideal.
we do something?
Yeah, you could try.
Can I grab it? Like grab
Grab-
Ati?
Yeah, and try to pull Ati out of this thing's
Yeah.
clutches. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's more than fair to say. That's going to be an action roll.
Okay.
I think this is going to be.
Should I do analyze?
Well,
no? Do
we can
flow?
talk about that. You are not injured, so I'm going to say your effect here is going to be standard, but I do think your position is getting worse by the moment. And so I'm going to say that this is maybe a desperate action, which means that
Oh, for
whatever
sure.
you are going to roll, you can mark the XP track
Okay.
of that category, whether it's sun, stars, or moon.
Okay.
What do you said analyze?
Yeah, like because 90% of Grace's life so far has been training and simulations and just preparing for things more so than actually doing things. And so I imagine Grace would be analyzing like very fast, especially since they're in Transcend, so they're more in introvert like math mode. That they would be like analyzing, like, for example, like the mass difference and whether or not they think they could actually grab Ahti, or like, you know, things like that, trying to figure out the best physical trajectory to be able to use the thing's own momentum instead of trying to fight against it.
Yeah, I love that. That is the kind of wacky justification that I'm very into. So I'm down. Logan, sorry, are we going to say something?
I'm going to assist because
Yes.
the Guardian is basically meant to eventually take as much harm for people as possible. So I'll take that one more stress. And the way that I'm justifying it is A&W is so wrecked that it can't really carry weapons normally, but it has a bunch of sensors in it that can analyze the battlefield constantly. So while you're doing it, you're getting like supplemental data from A&W to help your processors a lot faster.
I love that.
Perfect.
You also have 3 links with Grace. I will throw out there.
I do.
But,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll just do that to, instead of spending the stress. I will go ahead. So I want to say that's what's happening, even though we're not using the same action.
Sure.
But you'll get 1 additional die, and I'll spend 1 of my links with you.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Very nice. So I get
So
3 dice.
I think you get 2 because you have
2
1
dice?
in
Okay.
Analyze for being transcended, and Cypher is giving you 1.
You know what? I could give you an additional, but you already rolled. I heard that.
I already rolled.
Okay.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Um,
You
I'll
don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't. Will, are you okay if I still do the assist action, take on the stress?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. You get another one.
Okay. Good.
Save
I'm just gonna
me.
roll this one again. I had 2 3s and a 6. That last
Nice.
one was a 6.
Hey,
So
hell yeah, that paid off. Fantastic. So yeah, so this is desperate, but you are able to extract Ahti from this thing's clutches without getting ensnared yourself. And it is definitely reaching for you as well, but you're getting all of this data pumped to you from Cypher's scanners. And what does Dangun do?
So Dangun kind of. God, I'm such an anime. Okay, so Dangun
Please.
like.
This is all about.
This is what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right, I don't know if anybody plays Final Fantasy 14, but Hildebrand, when he shows up and starts doing like the flexing, like Dangun like takes a moment to like Grace is just in the cockpit, like stone faced, like we have to get to Ahti, and Dangun is like, okay, and like does like the posing of like the Armstrong, and then like grabs the thing and like swings it to like release the momentum to get it to let go, and that's how
Hell
we
yeah.
save.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Oh yeah. All right. I love that. Yeah, you see, so you managed to do all of that. You managed to pull Ahti out from the tentacles with your mighty tiger power arms, tiger magical girl power arms. And yeah, Ahti, you are freed. This thing is still kind of drifting back towards the breach. Does anybody else have anything that they want to try to do in this moment? Or are you just waiting to see if this thing...
I have a question.
Uh-huh,
As
yeah.
I'm yanked away, can I kick the asteroid harder to push it further away?
Ooh, all right. I love that. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think you are no longer, I think this is risky, definitely not desperate. Now that you've been extracted. So risky. I'll probably say the effect is somewhat limited because you are being like actively dragged away. Like this is very much like when your friend is trying to hold you back and you're trying to get like that one last kick in.
Legitimately.
Yeah. So what action do you want to do?
I think this is flow because I realize that I'm being pulled and I take the opportunity to use a little extra momentum, just push a little harder and kick off.
Okay.
So that would be 1 dice.
Yes.
5.
Hell yeah.
Love these
Cool.
dice.
Hell yeah. With a 5, you kick at the rock, you send it deeper, you add a little bit more momentum to send this thing back through the breach. And I think as you do that, you would all hear chatter come across your comms as you recognize once again the voice of the general as he says, operators, get clear. Stand by for Gungnir intervention.
Yeah.
2,416.
And as you kind of like drift to the side, you all know what this means. You all know what this communication means. The Gungnir is the weapon that makes the warship a Leviathan hunter. It is the integrated weapon, the only weapon aside from the engines that seems to be able to cause the Leviathans any amount of pain whatsoever. And it is basically just a large charged particle blast that erupts from the tip of the Delphi. It takes a long time to charge and it takes a long time to recharge, but if it's applied at the right moment in a battle, it can make a difference. And that is very much the case in this point. As you are kind of pulled to the side, that blast of golden energy erupts from the front of the Delphi and streaks past each and every one of you. That if you would ever be caught in it, you would be vaporized instantly, even inside of your engines. And it punches directly into the asteroid that you shoved into this thing's mouth, both like forcing it deeper and also breaking it apart. And you see this thing just fully, the remains of this thing get fully shoved back through the breach in reality. And for a few beats afterwards, as nothing is actively keeping it open, reality starts trying to repair itself, and you see the breach starting to sort of naturally heal and close. Nothing seems to be coming through this particular breach to attack you again. Are you taking this opportunity to retreat?
Let's get the hell out of here.
I'll say, defer to the captain.
All right. And yeah, you having a moment now, streak away in various states, all things considered, in very good shape, except for Ati and Kiernanos. You streak away back towards the ship, back towards the Delphi. And that pretty much is gonna be the end of our mission phase. You kind of succeeded at your goal.
I was gonna say, what does that count?
I guess that's what we're gonna find out in the Fallout phase.
I made a choice.
Yeah, choices choices were absolutely made. Gosh, fantastic. Well, let me see one thing here. Cool. Cool. Yeah. All right. So what we will cut to, I think, is the doors of the hangar sliding closed, and repressurizing, making it breathable, making it possible for you to exist outside of your engines. And I imagine you'll come out of transcendence as you kind of lock in, as you escape. You dock your engines for their routine maintenance and repair, and now you're kind of able to like exit them via the scaffolding and meet each other on the ground. Most notably, it sounds like, without Kiernanos. I guess that's a question for you.
So
Troyan.
I don't think Ahti lets Troyan out immediately.
Okay.
Especially depending on the reception Ahti receives. Docking back in here.
I mean, first and foremost, it's just going to be the four of you before like the general and the brass and everybody gets a chance to get down here. So like when you first
anyone
land,
pointing guns at my mech.
nope.
Okay. Okay.
No, they are not.
I feel like it's very much a Venom wrapping around Eddie situation where Troyan's just kind of chilling, sitting in the mech still, like waiting.
And I guess that is the question. A follow-up question that I should have asked earlier is that can Ahti reproduce Kiernanos with or without the divine spark? Like you absorbed the engine itself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just gone now? Or is it like, can you bring the husk back, I guess?
How much of the husk do we need to bring back?
I don't know. I mean, ideally all of it, I guess. This depends on whose perspective you're asking for.
Troyan and Ahti's.
Then
how much do I need to
none.
not be in trouble? I think it's the better question.
I don't know that you're escaping that.
Okay,
No
so
matter
here's
what you
what's
do.
going to happen. I don't think Ahti ate all of the spark.
Okay.
So I think once Atmo is engaged, it's like venom peeling off of Eddie, and like you see Troyan just kind of like hanging out. I like fully like still in looking like they're transcended, and bit by bit, like the skeleton had been molded alongside Ahti's. Kiernanos just starts to peel away and then drops slowly.
Cool.
But the helm stays on Ahti's head.
So you all see that. The three of you leave your engines behind, and you notice that Troyan is not joining you immediately. But some like facsimile of Kiernanos, the shell of Kiernanos, has been brought back into being and is just kind of like it teeters forward and falls to the deck with a loud crash, intact except for the helm, revealing just like the bare skull of the god underneath.
725.
Oh, shit. We didn't get it back.
We got it back.
What I meant.
The body?
Engines aren't exactly easy to come by.
It's got most of its spark.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
It can be piloted.
Can it?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Do you know how much work it takes to get one engine working again?
Ati had less of a spark than this when I found her.
Is that why you're so fucked up? Like, Jesus.
No, that would be literally cannot tell how much time in the abyss, Chief.
Ati is not mostly machine. These machines are grafted onto these corpses to make them mobile. You've kind of taken the corpse part away from this thing.
Can be piloted.
Not like ours can.
No. Someone with talent is going to have to be in this one. This time.
Technically, they didn't ask us to bring it back in working condition.
I like carrot.
1,200.
Okay.
And I think at that moment, the doors open and a kind of a contingent come in. Dr. Haynes is there. The general is there. General Swanson is there. Mason is certainly there as well. And they also kind of stop moving as they look up upon the three of you out of your mechs, and then Ati still inside of hers. And then towards their gazes all sort of travel towards Kiernanos, lying there on the ground. And the general takes all that in for a second and says, "Chief, you think you can open?"
Yeah, we can get it open. That's not crazy.
I can open it right now.
You've done enough.
Chief, I'd like you to take care of that. Operator, exit your engine. That's an order.
Here's why I didn't resist the harm. Troyan exits Ati, but it's Ati like literally like covers her in goo and then like slides her down and out. And when she comes out, all like the minor veining that you see around her the side of her face and down her shoulder has expanded half, like all like is taking up it's obviously expanded. And normally her eyes reflect light like a cat's at night, and now they're just kind of glowing a little golden color.
Collectively, everybody who came in with the general just takes a step back.
Honestly, I would not have come home if I thought this was the reception I'd got. Come on. I have been a good little girl the whole time I've been here.
You cannibalized the engine that you were sent to retrieve.
And then I used the little bit that I cannibalized to shove a big rock down Leviathan's throat to shove it back through the breach. So...
the general, I think, will kind of steel himself and will take a couple steps closer to you. He doesn't really have to steal himself, but he collects himself for a moment and takes a couple steps closer to you to show that he's not afraid. And as he does so, he says, "Operator, you brought back a partially functioning, partially complete engine. And you failed to kill the Leviathan. So what is it you think you accomplished here today?"
we survived. All of us lived this time. Considering we were short a very powerful engine, I'm pretty sure that's a success.
Not
I
all of
brought you a
us-
broken one, but Chief, real good at patching them together. You didn't used to be this afraid of me, Hiram.
Not
I
all
guess
of us
that would
came
probably
back.
be.
What was that, Cogs?
Not all of us came back alive. 725 instances. We've done this mission 2,416 times. 725 of them we don't come back with Captain.
And this time we did.
Wrong. When you open that spark, I would not expect to find him.
Chief, do you want to open the cockpit?
Yeah.
You can find the emergency exterior release. This is one of your the homemade engines as opposed to Ati's kind of special deal. So it's definitely built with an outer emergency release. You hear the hiss of the pressurized cockpit releasing. You look in to see it is completely empty.
Fuck.
Will, was he in there when I picked it up?
I don't know how you would know that.
I ate a good chunk of it, so...
You ate its divine energy. You absorbed the engine itself. You ate its divine energy, but you have no way of knowing if there was a person inside, either a corpse or a living person inside of
ask
it.
the question.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Do I see while looking inside any evidence that is there, like, his clothing? Is there any personal effects? Is there anything that would have been like the last of what he would have left?
I don't think you see any evidence. I mean, you could go over it with like a forensic scanner or
Yeah.
something like that and see about that, but that's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and I don't want
investigation.
that. I don't want that. I just want to, because I get Ati ate the divine spark of Kuranos,
Mhm.
but where's Wildheart's body?
That's a great question.
I, pull myself out of the cockpit and I look at everyone. It's empty. I think, can I, like, quickly as an action just analyze whether or not this could be used as another engine again? Can I fix this?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even think you need to make an action roll for that. You can if you want to, but I'll say that it's mostly intact.
Okay.
You can definitely fix it. You can repair it. I think the only question is, will the divine spark, like heal itself essentially? Because they are self-replicating power sources. That is one of the things that makes the engine so effective. But the question really is, like, you don't have any experience with something like Ati. You have no idea if that's going to have an inhibiting effect, if it's going to take longer than usual, if it's going to halt that process from even being able to take place. But normally, the divine sparks are designed to, like, get used up. They power the engines, they power your weapons, and then they grow back over time. That's one of the reasons why you can't stay transcended indefinitely, is because it's consuming the spark to do that.
I think then, knowing that and knowing that maybe we could save this, I immediately do a loud whistle. That's horrible on a mic, I can tell. Anyway, and then I yell out, "Okay, boys, take it to take it back to the repair bay, and from my staff, just dozens of beetles, scarabs start flying out. You can hear them flooding the bay, and they pick up the corpse. I'll get it ready for us. You can either find someone, or if we're out of luck with one of ours, maybe we can fly Kuranos back into battle.
I think without missing a beat, the general is going to say almost, I would say definitely coldly, if Operator Wild Hunt is lost, we'll begin the search for a new operator.
Right.
And the man that you met with, just like a maybe not even a day ago, Chief, the general that you met with, the sort of defenses down, talking about how your team needed a leader, talking about what a good man Reed was, completely gone because he's in his place of authority. He can't let anyone perceive weakness, so he is very much playing the part of the cold general here. Or I guess maybe there's a lingering question in Chief's mind. Which one is the act?
Yeah. You can kind of see Chief is letting all the adrenaline through this whole conflict wash over him, and he's finally releasing that. And I think hearing that, and as things have still the lingering adrenaline runs through his body, Chief just stares at Hiram and decks him in the face.
Yes!
725.
I think if that happens, Troyan instinctively puts herself in between anybody else and the two of them.
Yeah, I mean,
And
absolutely.
just smiles, all teeth.
Yeah. Absolutely, as you deck the general, weapons come out of holsters and point at you. The security detail that came in with him and the doctor. The doctor's not doing anything. The doctor's stepping to the side, darting to the side, honestly, to get behind the people pulling their weapons. Mason is one of the ones that is pulling a weapon and pointing them at you. But yeah, Troy, and you can kind of place yourself physically between them and give them threatening looks. Nobody is pulling the trigger or anything like that, but I think as the general kind of catches himself before he hits the ground on one, on his knees, and on one hand, he holds up the other one towards everybody and says, "Lower your weapons. Put them away." And he kind of pulls himself back up to his feet, and he looks at you, Chief. His expression is pretty unreadable. And he says, "There aren't enough of us left to just go executing each other."
There's not enough of us left to just throw kids into these things. And I don't mean pilots, I mean humanity.
He's gonna turn and start walking away. As he passes you, Troyan, because you kind of interjected yourself between the two of them and the assemblage, he's going to say, "Maybe I wasn't so scared of you." Because you weren't a monster.
Glad one of us thinks so. It ain't them. 'Cause
I'm sure you'll have ample opportunity to show them.
When she points, Ati's hand raises behind her and also points. And then very conspicuously moves back down behind her, and she's not facing that mech.
The general leaves, and the others follow afterwards, and it's just the four of you, once again, in the hangar. There are crew members starting to move in to, like, assess your mechs and things like that, but the, like, guard detail, the general, the doctor, Mason stays behind, of course, just kind of waiting for you, trying, but a respectable distance away.
I like Mason.
What's not to like? And I think that is probably where we will assess the fallout of your mission. Because you did complete your mission, which means that the first thing we have to do is mark the adversary track. During Fallout, it advances by 1 segment automatically, plus 1 additional for each of the following that occurred during the mission. The adversary's agenda moved forward. I'm going to say that happened. Don't worry about it. Someone fell into eclipse or was killed or defected to the adversary. This did not happen. Or the protagonist came closer to their destiny as established in series creation. I also don't think that happened particularly. Yeah. So then I think what that is going to mean, I don't think, I know that what that is going to mean is that we are going to mark 2 ticks on the Leviathan's track, tier 1. And now we get to do your Fallout roll. The current investigation tier, and consult the chart in the series playset under the appropriate adversary tier. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So I just have to hop over to On a Sea of Stars. Go. All right, Fallout, here we go. So it is going to be, your current investigation tier is 2, well, your readiness tier in this case, because of the playset that we're using. I'm going to roll 2d6, and then we consult tier 1 for the Fallout, because the only, excuse me, because we only marked 2 ticks on your adversary track. I did roll a 6 and a 5, which is fair because Fallout, tier 1 Fallout on a 6 is that the institutions pressure the pilots. And I think in that, what that means here is that moving forward, as punishment for what just took place, as punishment for your exchange with the general and the fact that you were insubordinate and violent with him, you are basically going to discover that you are scheduled for like non-stop drills. You are not going to have time to sleep. You are barely going to have time to eat. You are just drilling and drilling and drilling. And I think that is where we are going to go ahead and end this episode of God Complex. All of you standing around this empty mech suit.
On top of drills, do I get poked and prodded by the science bros?
Not more than usual.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, this seems more personal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrot and Carmente are just kind of paying the price along with the 2 of you.
Does Tolu pay the price?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Once Tolu gets back from their business, Tolu is also absolutely paying the price. But Tolu's always kind of paying the price. So
yeah, this feels fair.
Yeah.
It's real fair.
That is how that works. But with all that being said, I think we'll probably just go around and do outroductions, tell people who you are, what you got going on, where they can find you, and all that good stuff. And then assume JT will want to raid someone, probably.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So if we want to keep it up, Cass, would you like to? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just checking the dates on some things that I found out I was going to be in. Sure, I haven't put on my credit. So, hello guys. I am Cass, better known as Yoder, Yoder Almighty. I have been your totally normal, good friendo, Troy and Mook, and playing the Outsider playbook. But you will find me on your screens coming up. I would normally be over on Singularity for our Cthulhu game on Saturday, but that game is canceled for this month. We will be back in September. And then Sunday, the 11th, it will be a double feature. I'll be on Lost Caravan at noon for the beginning of, well, part of the beginning of the Caravan of Cthulhu Charity Week. I will be playing Trophy Dark with Alice GMing. And then later that afternoon, I will be over on Singularity for our game Fragments of Tomorrow's Apocalypse, which is our City of Mist game. And then I will be back on Lost Caravan on the 17th, wrapping up the week with Delta Green on the 17th for Caravan of Cthulhu. And in the meantime, on the 15th, back here. And then back over on Live from the Apocalypse, Redacted returns on August 22nd. It's fine. Don't worry about where we left off. I wasn't in trouble. And that's really all that's going on for me this month. But I will be popping up around other places coming up shortly. Frodo, the baby. Yeah. And I guess that means, are we skipping JT and going to Logan so JT can go last? What are we doing? Okay. Yeah. Logan.
That makes sense.
Oh, goodness gracious, another such phrases. Hello, everyone. My name is Logan, also known as Logan the GM. You can catch me all over the internet under that name. You can catch me here every other Thursday, where I am playing your dad in a giant mech suit, also known as Chief. You can catch me at Apochromatic, where I am currently casting for an all-POC group of magical knights with giant robots using a suspiciously similar game. Weird. So if you are at all interested, I have a casting for that. I'll do a tweet. I'll retweet or make something because I've been trying to hype it up. I did a video for it. It's so fun. It was fun to make. Outside of that, you can catch me. Actually, you can catch me and Will, because Will brought me into this on Saturday at 4:30 Pacific on Desi and Dragons, where I will be playing Dungeon from Possum Creek Games for the Medical Aid for Palestinians. So it's going to be a charity game. We're raising money. We're doing all kinds of crazy things there. Catch me and some fantastic other peoples. Outside of that, Bloom and Blight. Hey, another game that uses Girl by Moonlight. If you can't tell, I love this game. If you can't tell while we're playing how I do the thing, I love this game. Bloom and Blight, we just had our season finale. It is up right now. You can go ahead and listen to our entire season if you want to hear more about this game, hear more about magical girls, more about defying the odds, and you can find out how my sassy twink boy ended in the end of that season. Spoilers, trauma. So I think that's everything from me, and I will go ahead and throw it at Youngles.
It's me, Youngles. I've been playing Grace. You're very much hot mess. And I only have 4 words for you. Voices in the woods. That's it. That's the tweet.
Hell yeah. That is absolutely the tweet. I would have forgotten to talk about that, so thank you so much, Jen, for bringing that up. Hi, hello, my name is Will. I was everybody else tonight. And I have a pretty quiet period of time. Pretty quiet week going on. I say period of time. Sorry, this is Frodo also. Hi, say hi, Frodo. Bite? No, we're just snuggling. Okay, cool. Yeah, this was God Complex. Oh, now we bite. Saturday, yes, at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We are co-streaming Rolling Seaward with Desi and Dragons, but that is the dungeon game is going to be on Live from the Apocalypse. So we are hosting it over there, but it is part of that fundraiser, and it is part of the Desi's and Dragons larger series of games. They just needed a few other channels to streaming because that is I think like 4 a.m. Indian Standard Time, as it turns out. So yeah, Sunday the 4th, we'll be recording some new episodes of Academy H, the Masks Actual Play podcast, over on Live from the Apocalypse as well. That'll be a great time. It always is. Come check that out. We're going to be starting a new story arc. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything I really need to talk about except that I was co-producer for Voices in the Woods, which is a previously mentioned forthcoming podcast that uses the Void 1080 AM system, I think is the technical name. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be amazing. I also was lucky enough to be in an episode, but yeah, you'll listen to that podcast and you'll hear a lot of bands, and I was the one who found most of those bands and talked to them and got music from them. Yeah. So check it out. It's going to be a blast. And yeah, that's everything that I have to talk about, I think. So JT.
Hi, I'm JT. I'm all over the internet at WeebG. I'm also all over the internet at Entropy Emporium. That's right. The channel you're watching, technically my channel, but I like to think it's our channel because I not only am not the only one who has logins to everything, I am also only running one game here. We have different GMs on 4 different days of the week as of current, soon to be 5, which I will talk about in just a moment. That's my cat Tater. He's adjusting to the move. But for me, you can see me in the next 2 days here. Tomorrow night, I will be running a session of Weird Wilds War, my 5e homebrew actual play game, starring a very fun cast who have all been so delightful about their characters. We might actually also be updating to the new player's handbook because a couple of them got access to it. So stay tuned for that, including Logan. Logan's not a player. He just has the book. Then
Wizard of the Coast sends me things sometimes. I don't know why.
You're only their biggest advocate.
Yeah.
Then on Saturday, you can catch me as Stellan Faust on Blooming in the Rot, our Invisible Sun actual play run by my beloved partner, Kian, who's going to get mad at me for saying beloved partner. You can also find me every other Wednesday on High Shelf Collective running the Beacons extended games. Right now we are doing Beacons Royal Flush. It is a mini-series based in Farlight that is sort of like if The Godfather was also Succession. If that makes sense. It's been very fun so far. The characters are all super great. And then after that is over, we will be back with Arc 3, the last arc of this main game of Beacons. But I am working on more because I cannot get enough of this world. It's amazing. On the alternative Wednesday, you can find me on Lost Caravan as Caldwell in Nova. He is a scientist robot man with a few friends, maybe. And they are stuck in a time loop, just like this character, which was not planned. But as for Entropy Emporium, we got a lot of really fun, cool stuff. We have a monthly schedule now made by Kian also, who is doing a lot of great work for us. So please go thank them somewhere. We have on bi-weekly Tuesdays, so this coming Tuesday and every other Tuesday after that, we have They Call Us Villains, which is our Horror Masks actual play game run by JD. And then starting on the 12th and every Monday after for about like 3 or 4 Mondays, Kian is running Brindlewood Bay, an anthological mini-series and maybe the shortest form game we have ever done. That is going to alternate with public access. So that will go at Brindlewood Bay, and then a few weeks after that, it will be public access. And then we'll do like a new casting call, and it'll be like a fun little thing where we get new faces and old faces, and we just get people together to play those games. That's very fun. And then we got a bunch of other really cool games coming up. And a bunch of non-TTRPG stuff coming up that I'm still working on. Stay tuned for that. I think that that's all that I have to plug at the moment. I don't think I can plug the charity thing I'm doing yet because I just got cast and there's no promos yet. So we're good. We're going to raid on over to Interpoint Station.
Yeah.
They are
Ralph.
playing Lancer as per usual.
Ralph.
And they are also the only channel I saw that I knew we could raid for surezies without risking it on another channel. So we're going to raid over to that. Do good things. Be good people. Let chaos reign. Do as you wish within the bounds of kindness. And have a wonderful evening.